Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, so today I'm bringing you a traditional video that we always try out, and that is the Galaxy S4 with the PS3 controller. Now, the reason why the PS3 controller is so special is because this little handy-dandy $20 or $15 adapter from Samsung, you can actually use the PS3 controller you have at home natively with your Galaxy S4. Now, what does this mean? This means you don't need to be a techie for it to work. It just works, and that's it. So all you have to do is basically get the cable that you have at home with your PS3 that you charge the controller with. You get this little $20 adapter. It's called a micro USB to female USB. So female, it's ready to receive the regular mail. And as soon as you put it in, you just plug that in, and you plug this into here, and that's it. And it detects the USB is connected, and then you push the power button on it. Now, one important thing to note is that you have to make sure that you do not have your PS3 on, or else this will turn it on. So I have it in a room where I do not have my PS3. Or if I was in my room that I had my PS3, I would turn my PS3 off. Actually unplug it even, or flip the switch depending on what version of the PS3 you have. Now, as you can see, I have a little square right here, so if I move right here, I can actually navigate with it already. So that just show you that it works natively. You don't need to be a techie to figure this out or anything like that. It just works. Now we're going to test out these 4 games. So Sonic, oops, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, PS1, we're going to go there. So Sonic Episode 2, Vice City, Shadowgun, and emulators. So if you don't know, of course, you can use emulators to play games. Just to give you an idea, these are all the emulators that I have on my current device, besides the one you're seeing right now that I'm about to use. So, emulators are basically like PlayStation, Super Nintendo, all these different ones. We are starting to see, for the higher end now, we are starting to see PlayStation 2 and PSP. However, they are quite buggy. As soon as I get one that's stable, I will let you know about that. Alright, let's try our first game, and that is Sonic 4 Episode 2. And we don't want too much branding on there, so we'll just kind of cover that up for a second, you know. And now, alright, and so you'll be able to see that I can actually play all these games without needing to grab. So I will actually play like this, just so you guys can see. You know, I will do a game review after this, so you guys can actually see like games play on this device. But the whole point is that you can actually, you know, play the game without actually needing to ever touch the screen. So I'm just going to give a little 2 seconds. So you can see you can play the game fully. And play the game. I can even do the special effects like that. So really cool stuff that you can do, and it just gives a much more traditional feel. I actually love the idea of playing with a controller on my phone and devices such as that. It just takes away so much from the experience not being able to play with a controller. Let me turn this down a little bit. But you can see it's just something about a controller that just feels a lot better, a lot more natural to play these kind of games, especially a game like Sonic that moves really quickly. As most of you would probably agree, you just don't have the same kind of speed on a touchscreen that you do when you have a controller. So I'm excited for a lot of these, you know, new controlling companies coming, or controller-made ones, especially even the one made by Samsung for the S4 that we saw. there's a lot of these coming out, and I think it's a really great idea, as a lot of my gamers that view this channel tell you, oh shit, I hate water levels, I hate water levels. Water levels should be destroyed. Anyone that's a gamer hates water levels. Alright, so yeah, give you an idea of that one. Now let's... Now, Grand Theft Auto is a little bit longer, so I'll just go over that one in the gaming review, so you guys can see that one. And now Shadowgun. Shadowgun's a really great third-person shooter game. It's basically like Gears of War. If you've seen most of my game reviews, I generally use Shadowgun as just a basis, but this is another game where it just works natively. And the interesting thing about this game is Shadowgun maps it out. So I didn't change the controllers how it works. It just automatically knows. So this is to move around, this is to view around, this is to dodge roll, this is to fire, and this is to reload. So again, this all works natively. You do not need to be a techie to figure this out, and that's what's so nice about it. One thing that Samsung has done with pretty much all their devices since, I believe, the Tab 2, they've allowed enough power going out of their USB as well as going in. So what this has allowed people to do is, on all their devices, be able to use everything from not only like a PS3 controller, but you have the ability to use a flash drive, a hard drive, a keyboard, a mouse. I've actually even seen people use all of them at the same time using a USB hub, and you can power all of this stuff. Keep in mind, of course, that will drain your battery. But the fact is that you can do it. You can even get like a micro USB splitter, so you can charge while connecting to this. So just to give you a lot of ideas, it really has a lot of features that it offers. And as you can see now, the fluidity from just playing a game with a controller, it really is so much better. Just the way you can look around and show it off, it just really seems a lot better in comparison to where if you didn't have it. Just zoom in a little bit more on here so you can see a little bit more of the game. It just really is nice that you can do that. Now you can of course do this through Bluetooth, but usually you do have to root it. I have been told a couple of times that you don't have to do that anymore. I have to look more into that, because the times when I've tried it, it was still very glitchy and didn't work properly. But of course, you have like probably the greatest graphics card out right now, currently in early 2013, until the Tiger 4 comes out, the Adreno 320. So you have really good visuals for all your gaming needs, and it does really well. That actually one part alone usually always stuttered on most other games. So as you can see, you just don't have that with this one. And it just plays really well. I mean, I suck at this game without a controller. And I hate it when other ones don't allow you to. I mean, you can just see you can play so much quicker with a controller than you would otherwise. Alright, and then the last one, just to show you guys, is emulators. Now, emulators can range from like the Super Nintendo, Nintendo Arcade, MAMEs, all this kind of stuff. For the PS1, you do need to find a BIOS for it. And once you find a BIOS, you can load your game. So I'm going to load, let's load Tekken. And now for this one, I should only point out a couple things. So when you do connect the controller, you might need to map it. And what mapping is basically assign the buttons so that it matches up to what the traditional buttons are. So this is especially important for, not cheats, I don't need cheats. This is especially important for, say, Super Nintendo and Genesis ones. The PS1 is generally correct automatically, but just to give you an idea, you would go to things like gamepad and then button mapping. And then, say for my pad 1, I can assign where triangle is, and triangle is of course here, and then it assigns that as triangle. And that's what you can do for all the buttons. So if you are an emulator player for these, that is what you would do. You also should note on emulators, you can generally make it a lot better looking. So like for this one, because I know it has such a great screen, it's a 1080p screen, I'm going to try to make this as a good looking game as possible. So I'm going to highlight all of these and then play so it looks better. Simply because, you are still going for the regular PS1 type graphics, and on a 1080p screen that will not look as good, of course. So yes. And it now has detected that I'm using the controller. And then again, just so you can see, everything works natively. I have noticed the joystick works a lot better on PlayStation 1 games. But yes, so then we can play. And again, like this game, a fighting game would suck with the touchscreen. It just really sucks. However, on this one, oops, did I switch? Oh, dang. Okay. I didn't map them all out, unfortunately, on this one, so I will. Okay, I need to find out where's my other kick. Okay, this is why you would want to map them out so you know where the buttons are. But yes, and I just don't lay there. But yeah, so a lot easier to play once you actually have all the buttons mapped out, and then you actually can play with it. You can play it normally. So yeah, that's just an idea of how you would play with these kind of controllers, and it just makes it so much easier. There we go. To be able to play these kind of games fairly easily. Now that I have it mapped out, it should be a lot easier. There we go. And there you go. Alright, so that is a great example of how you would use the PS3 controller on your Galaxy S4. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.